Hi, this is Wishop, and this is the Geomancy reading for Luck Solutions, following up on the Luck Blockages reading I did about a month ago. So, if you didn't watch that, I will put it up in the corner somewhere around here. I'll also link it at the end of the video. It is an in-depth reading. It's a shield spread, which is what I'm going to do today as well. A 15 glyph shield spread about blockages in luck. It was kind of a long video. It was my first like really long kind of in-depth reading, and I was probably kind of repetitive there in the middle. I've listened to it again and I don't disagree with anything I said, but I could have been more brief about it. So maybe put it on if you're washing dishes, or skip to the end to further in the end. I do talk about the process of geomancy during it. So if you find it interesting, maybe you'll like it for that as well. Anyway, today, I'm coming back to talk about the solutions. So let me recap the previous issues that came up in blockages. It was the idea that you have something in you that is special, unique, and gifted, and you know it, and you've always known it. But a little bit of the sparkle of it has been tarnished by the fact that you've tried a few things and failed you feel in the eyes of other people or let down other people. And now, in adopting this idea of a being like a has-been or a failed experiment rather than being a work in progress, you are just focusing your enthusiasms on what other people are doing. You're trying to be happy for them. You're trying to be happy in the moment. You're trying to make sure that you're wise and responsible. But this creativity, this spark that you have to share, still wants to come out and is arguing with the fact that you stuff it down by saying you're just not good enough. You thought you had great ideas, but they're not good enough. You thought you were talented, but you're not talented enough. That the way that you've used previous failures or difficulties as a way to label yourself as not talented, not gifted, not wonderful is creating a war inside you where you're this put on label that you're giving yourself to try to make it easier to not express yourself, to make it easier to not try again and risk failure. That put on label is creating conflict within you. And that conflict is boiling. And it's making you kind of antsy and edgy and frustrated so that you, excuse me, so that you may take impulsive action that you don't really mean to take. So that is the kind of thing where, to relieve the pressure, you may end up speaking out or walking out or jumping into something that might not be exactly what you want or even a very good idea for you, but you're just so frustrated, and you're frustrated because you're trying to apply this identity to yourself that doesn't fit. And you're trying to say that somehow you could just get by and just coast, saying, I tried it once, it didn't work. I tried my own business, it didn't work. I tried this relationship, it didn't work. I tried to accomplish this, that, or the other in my own life. I set these goals, it didn't work. So I'm not going to try again. And I'm just going to let other people have the limelight. And there's a part of you that is a shining star. And it's not that you necessarily crave recognition of others, but you shouldn't feel like you're a loser in their eyes or your own. And that is the falseness. They may or may not see you that way. That's going to be a complicated question, but that you are assuming they do, and that you're adopting that yourself as a way to try to not have to deal with the fact that you feel like a person of promise that didn't get to fulfill that promise. So the end up from that reading was that lucky strikes come in, lucky opportunities come in from the outside, but they force you to make choices. Are you going to pursue it? Are you going to risk what you have? It looked to me in the reading that even if we try not to risk what we have, if we try to play it safe, we're still going to end up losing. If we're not true to ourselves. And the first card in the first house in that reading was all about luck. It was a card that connects with Sagittarius, so it's a very lucky card, and it came in the first house, the house of self. So it was really all about our luck. And so that's what I'm going to address now. What are areas of solution where we can express this luck, this sparkle that we have? Where are areas where we can let that shine, not only to provide a pressure valve for this frustration we feel, but also places that we can sweeten up, that we can look for successes, that we can look for places to feel good about ourselves. So here is the first set of cards, and we'll see. Hopefully this will come through. I tried to do this reading yesterday, and I got invalid cards. What that means is when you're doing a shield spread, if you get more than 4 of any one glyph, the reading is invalid and you kind of have to start over. Anyway, I got 3 glyphs and 3 glyphs only, so I will be interested if any of those 3 show up in this reading. So we have even, 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 odd. Okay, so this is Tristitia. I apologize, I'm sniffing like crazy. I'm drinking chicken broth. I have like a little bit of a something going on. Okay, Tristitia. So this is the first mother in the first house. Wow, okay. Hello, Populus again. Populus was showing up before. These 2 cards did show up in the luck blockages reading, so you can go look at that again to see sort of how those figured in. Interesting. Oops. You know, these are all the mothers. Even, even, odd, odd. So it looks like we might get a good reading here. Or I should say, maybe a good reading, but like a valid reading. Where is... There you are. Fortuna Major. Now I've set up what cards these are, so there tend to be more, 10s and they're face cards and high cards, but it does mean something that all of these are sort of maxed out in a way. These are sort of maximum energies. This is this. Oh, and these are all odd. Check that out. So we had 4 6s, so it's all even and all the highest you can get. These are all odd, so we get the Ace of Spades, which we had before. So, and we had the Ace of Spades in this spot, which is the feet position. So in Geomancy, the way you work with the glyphs is head, heart, belly, feet. So if I were looking at this one, this would be the head line, the heart line, the belly, and the feet. These little symbols on the side are the glyphs, the shape of the glyphs. I've assigned them to playing cards, and there's a video on how to do that. I can also put that up in the corner and at the end. So Tristitia, which is in the head position, first house. It is the house of sorrow. Tristitia, woe or sorrow. It's got Saturn in Aquarius. It is a sorrow which has long-standing antecedents. It's an even number, so it's stable. These are even numbers, so it's stable, stable, stable. This is odd because it's a 1, so it's mobile. That's how I've assigned these. So these are stable energies. These are things that we've kind of locked down in place in the past. This is mobile energy. This is moving. The reds tend to be positive, the clubs are neutral, and the spades are definitely negative, or more negative. Some are more negative than others. So when I look at this, I see we again have this idea, which we came up in the last reading, that we've adopted this notion, this concept in the first house in our head of thinking of ourselves as losers. And then in the heart position, we had in the previous reading some loss of courage, some lack of fortitude there. Here we've got populace, so we have the idea that we have a heart that may be full of the opinions of other people. I mean, I sort of saw that more here. The way I'm reading it now, though, because I'm trying to read it as luck solutions, it's sort of like things, because this is a neutral card, but it signifies efforts. It's putting your efforts in the direction of love for other people. Putting your efforts, this is water, this is the moon in Cancer. It's a stable sign, but it's got a lot of moving pieces. So this is more like, if you think of it as having a heart for other people, then there's luck in having a heart for other people. And that is sort of emphasized here, where we again have the idea of the heart and the guts tied together. Because Fortuna Major is a fire sign. It's the sun in Leo, which is the sign of the heart. And this is really the best card in the deck. So this is lasting fame and fortune. So this is something that you've grown. This is something you've worked for. And this is something that once you have earned it, even if it's being granted to you by others, so to speak, once you've earned it, it can't be easily taken away. This is not a flash in the pan. This is lasting. Fortuna Major, big fortune, great fortune. So we have these cards, and each one is affecting the one before it. It's a little like Lenormand that way. I read them left to right. Some people read them the other direction, but because I read them left to right, the one that comes later always influences the one before. So what I see is there is major fortune in having a heart for others. Now, this might sound like it's the same old sort of suppression of self vibe again, but I'm not so sure. I think we're going to know more when we get to the second line. But we still see here where these sort of echo each other. We've got the moon again here. This is mobile, and this is wanting to take action. So there's action that can bring you to great fortune. Your feet can carry you to great fortune. And that great fortune will be tied to the feeling that you have for others, the love you have for others, the courage that you show to others. So in a way, this can be a leadership that you show to others, or an example that you set for others. So if you think of this as being the lion at the head of a pack, so to speak, this is like the courage and the bravery and the selflessness and the service you show to others. And these others may be ones that you have previously, because we're still in the past line, have blamed for your sense of being a loser. Like, I'm a loser because people didn't respond to me the way I wanted them to. People thought the worst things about me. There is a real sense here that this this sorrow is very much tied to what you think other people have thought of you. Or, as I say, because this can be society and community, it can be a public failure, a public loss, something that embarrassed you, a public sorrow, and that you feel like you can't come back from it, except you're moving towards great fortune. So these are the earliest cards, and these very much reflect what we saw in the luck blockages reading. So I'm sort of happy to see them come up early here, because this is what we're moving out of, and we're going to head into the next lines. So the next thing we do is we add up all the headlines of these glyphs. So we've got even, 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 odd, which is going to be Tristitia again. I am really, this looks like a key issue, I would say. And then we've got even, 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 odd. Oh, check it out. Yep. If I get Tristitia more than 4 times, this is going to be an invalid reading, and I'm going to have to redo it. But let's see how it happens. Okay, the next one, even, even, odd, odd. So it's another Fortuna major. Wow. Here she is, sticking here. And then the last one is odd, even, odd, odd. This showed up in my reading yesterday as one of the cards that came up like 5 times. It's Puella, or Puella, which is girl. So this is what we call in geomancy the daughters line, mothers, daughters. Then we'll have nieces, 2 witnesses, and a judge. The judge is kind of like a final outcome card. The final outcome of the previous reading was mobile. It was sort of 7 of spades. It was a mobile card. It was amicio, loss. So there was a sense that you could lose something you have by trying to hold on to it. And it, to me, really looked at the idea that if we try to hold on to this false self-concept of ourselves as losers, we're going to even lose the good things that we have, because we're just in conflict. So here, this would be sort of what we think of as the present. And I said before in the other line, this can go, you can deal with this in houses, 1st, 4th, 7th, and 10th houses, the cardinal houses. These would be the fixed houses. The last houses would be your mutable houses. This can be the area of spring, summer, winter, and fall. So you can read it from all directions. You can read it for timing. You can read it for characteristics and areas of life. So it's so fantastic. So anyway, let me get back to it. So we've got this idea that still in the headline, we've got this concept. And in the heart, there is this concept of woe. And I feel, because this is Saturn and there's this feeling of limitation, I feel like all this is tied to this people again. Like we're escaping what we think people expect of us or think of us. Now, whether or not they really do think this of us, because that's kind of an open question, we accept this in ourselves. This is what they think of us. And it may be that those are messages that you are getting from the outside, but it could be that they're also messages you're giving yourself. People think I'm a loser. So what is happening here is this tristitia, this woe, this severance. Let me show you the shape of this. In my mock-up cards, I use a sword, the tip of a rusty sword going into the ground. It's an end to something. This can be a card, the 10 of spades can be a card people equate to a cemetery full of gravestones. So there's definitely the sense with Saturn and Aquarius, which is decisive air sign, a sword. You know, you can think of the King of Swords cutting through, making decisions. That the way to proceed in the present is cutting out the idea of these people's opinions, and that following the instincts, the guts to major fortune, and that your movement, the action that you take is in this area. This is again, Puella is air sign, so again, analytical. There's a lot of stuff going on in the mind here. This is about self-concept and the way the thoughts that we put in our own heads control what we're willing to do in our behavior, and the way those thoughts, when they're at war with our truest instincts, create strange, impulsive behavior, erratic, unpredictable things, may be good, but sometimes just trying to break the stalemate. So here, this is a positive card, you can see. So here we had one positive card, which is that Fortuna Major, great fortune, wanted to come to us, and we have an instinct for it. We have an appetite for it, a desire for it, you know, in the belly, fire in the belly. And now in the present, this is a little bit the past, you know, so this is the present. We've got two positive cards, and they're moving. They're coming this way. And the action that we're going to take is interesting, because instead of taking that impulsive action that might be dangerous, dangerous might be a strong word, but might not get us what we want or might be self-destructive, we're taking measured action, and we're taking beneficial action. Puella, a girl, she's a positive card. She's cool, she's calm, she's analytical, but she's ruled by Venus, as Libra is. So she has a sweet relationship to people and to money. So love and money are well aspected in this card. So there's this sense that we're going to take some action that is thoughtful, considered, and well aspected. But in order to take that action, we're probably going to have to divorce ourselves from what we think people think of us, how we think people feel about us, and maybe even how we feel about them. There's a certain amount of detachment that is required here, because your instincts want to start moving you in a direction that's good. So it's almost like this queen is taking action in an analytical, warm, sweet, optimistic realm, far apart from this old business of what people thought of us, what we thought of ourselves, what the consensus was. She's really acting like she's near the Ace of Spades. So she's taking this action a little bit alone. Like there's a little bit like, here's all this group think over here that we may have adopted, and here she is willing to step out alone. But she's not acting rashly. She's not one of the cards of impulse. She's more like a card on the DL, like she's taking quiet action. So I would say that in the area of unblocking your luck, this would be a time where if there is something you've been thinking about doing for quite a while, a considered action that you've thought about doing and perhaps dismissed before because you were afraid it wouldn't work, you didn't think it would succeed, you didn't know how to go about it, you were worried about what other people think. And this sounds crazy, but is there a way you can take action on it without letting in the rest of the world? Like without getting everybody into it? This is a cute little pen I have that looks like a witch's broom. So I pulled it aside for pointing. Yeah, if there's a way that you could take action on something that is measured, that is sensible, but it might be something you keep to yourself. It is something with prospects. She's well aspected for love and money. Fortuna Major is still sitting here. Like your guts know. Your instinct knows that there are possibilities here for you. And so can you take some little action in that direction without getting everybody else involved? And can you take some little action at a low level of risk, because she's not a highly risky card. So you won't be risking anything you can't afford to lose. Like she's actually sort of coming at, we've got the Ace of Spades, which can be kind of do or die, gamble it all, put everything on red. And she's actually coming up and going, no, we're not going to do that. But we are going to do something. We're not going to do nothing. We're going to do something. But we're going to do something well considered. We're going to do something that we've put some thought into. But we might do something that doesn't involve the rest of the world, however you think of the rest of the world. So let's get into the nieces and see where this is all going, because it's kind of getting interesting now. And if this were the, okay, so this would be, sorry for all the sniffing. So, okay, so Puella shows up in our 11th house, which is Aquarius, which is another air sign, so more analytical. So Libra shows up in Aquarius. Lots of analysis, as I said, going on here. She's showing up in the house of organizations, but Aquarius can also be futuristic leaning. So if you think about Aquarius as your dreams and taking future action, you're taking well-considered futuristic activities. So let's say you had a goal that you failed at before and you are trying to succeed now. Oops, turn off my low battery thing. Hopefully we'll get through. Anyway, if you had a goal you were trying to get through and then you haven't made it through yet, this idea is that you will take careful action towards your future. And if it involves an organization, it is probably going to be a different one than the ones that you've been working with, because you're going to need to sort of cut off your investment in that in order to invest in something new and something that feels a little more personal to me. So let's see where we go here. So we start adding up these, but we do them in sets. So it's even, odd. So there we get Tristicia again. Oh, if it shows up one more time, the whole thing is going to be invalid and I'm going to have to start from nothing. Oh, well. Oh, well. Here we go. All right. And then we add these two. So it's odd, odd, even, even. Okay. So where's my Fortuna Minor? Fortuna Minor, stroke of luck. Then we've got even, 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 even. So we've got populace again. People. And then we've got odd, even, even, even. Oh, I love it. Okay. It is Letitia, joy. Okay, so this is interesting. We've got the nieces now, and they're on the board. And this is sort of where we're heading. And we still have this self-concept that we have to deal with. And I feel like maybe it'll be the last thing to change, because there's movement around here. But it's almost like we're going to take these considered actions, and it's almost like we're going to see changes before our mind changes, which is weird. I guess it's not weird. Like it's sort of fake it till you make it. Like you take action, and then the actions that you take change the way you feel about yourself. But this is not the path of like visualization first, because this is a path where you're going to take some well considered action to deal with your frustration over some sort of creative obstacle that you've been facing or some previous goal that you're either trying again or you're reinterpreting. And look at the area here. You are going to experience joy. Letitia is Pisces, so it's Jupiter in Pisces. It's a lucky sign. It is transitory, so these are the joys that come, the highs that come with life. It's not necessarily a lasting change, but you're going to take this action and you're going to get something good out of it. And I like this goodness here because it's going to make you feel finally in your heart like you might be getting lucky, like you might be experiencing a stroke of luck, like that identity that you had long ago as this like lucky gifted person, that might be true again. And this this fortune that you experience, this gain that you experience, that is going to be visible in activity. You're sort of being carried into it. It is going to be it's going to be present to other people. It's going to be public. So I don't know if you're going to share this with the public or it's going to become public, but the idea is you're going to have this success with whatever this is. And it's going to bring what you're doing, you know, what your convictions are. It's going to bring them into the public eye. And it is possible that the public will think of this as a flash in the pan. You know how people can be sort of sour grapesy, like, oh, it's just a flash in the pan. It's not going to mean anything. And maybe you have experienced a lack of support from these people. And this is, you know, part of why you've adopted this very risk-averse mindset. So it is possible that you will not get the huge reception from other people right away that you think you should. And it looks like that could be a little bit disheartening to you. And maybe that's the reason why you have to divorce yourself from this point of view, because the actions that you have to take to get to your new luck, they're going to require, when you have something good happen to you, that you celebrate yourself and not that you sell it out so easily and let anyone else tell you that, well, that doesn't mean much. It does. It means a lot. If you take action, if you dare anything, and you have any size of success, you have any glad tidings, you have any joy that comes your way, you should be celebrating it. You should be celebrating yourself. And it looks like here there may be a tendency, whether real or imagined, to feel like other people aren't giving you the credit for it. And that was a case in the luck blockages reading too, that we feel like we're not getting credit for the special people that we are and the gifts we have. So this is saying you are going to get some good results. Don't let other people make you doubt yourself just because beginning results aren't life-changing at first. That doesn't mean they're not going in the right direction. They're definitely going in the right direction. And the reason I say that it may cause you to doubt yourself is because we've got this stubbornness in our self-concept that, like, hey, good things are even happening. We've taken some cool action, good things are happening, and yet, oh, we've still got this stubborn self-concept. And it seems to be tied to what we're afraid other people will think of us, or how we feel we've let them down in the past. So can we take these good things that happen and really maximize them, really embrace them, really let them become part of our new self-concept? So let's do the witnesses and the judge. So we add these up and we get odd, odd, even, odd. Oh, boy. Okay, so where's my boy? So this first witness is boy. It doesn't have to be an actual boy or man. It can just be the yang energy. It's Mars and Aries. I kind of love it here. This is great. Okay, so the next witness is odd, even, even, even. We have Letitia again. Oh, I like it. I like it, like it, like it. Where's my Letitia? Okay, so here's Letitia. And then these two together, the witnesses, or some people say they'll call this the mother actually, and the father of the judge, which is interesting because this is external and this is internal, but we have a more male related card, male energy, and this is a more female energy related card. So they're sort of evenly balanced in their opposite houses. And then the judge is even, odd, even, odd. Oh, so nice. So nice. Come on, friends. Where is it? To get this card. Okay. Acquisitio. It's one of my favorite cards. Even, odd, even, odd. This is the card for gain. And what is great and fascinating about this is the card that we started with in the luck blockages reading in the first position. We started with knowing we were lucky. We started with knowing we had gifts. And the result of this action is to get us back to that sense of ownership of ourselves and feeling gifted and like we have something to share. So in the witness's position, here in the head and the heart, we have internally, there's action because we have Mars in Aries, which is again a first position card. So the action is that things are moving. This is a very rash card. It is good luck in matters of love and war. It can be sort of bad luck in other places, but it's very good luck when you want things to move because he's got this axe. He will batter down a door. And it looks like to me in this area, things are changing. That finally, there's like a dam break, like this persistent, terrible self-concept that has adopted this failure as an identity is being broken through on the inside. And this joy, which we're experiencing in actuality, in our circumstances, persists. This isn't just a one-time flash in the pan, no matter what someone might say, we're getting more. It's a waterfall. It's continuing to flow. And because it's continuing to flow, it is at last breaking down that bad self-concept, and it's returning us not only to gain. This is the luckiest card. This is Sagittarius. This is Acquisitio. It's golden bowls. The shape of the glyph echoes golden bowls. But it is, so it's not only having great things in your pantry and having optimism and having joy to share and good cheer, but the important thing is this was our original self-concept. This is a restoration of our potential, a restoration of our joy in our own being. But the way it's going to happen is you take quiet action at first. You get a little bit of good press or a little bit of good result, and you don't give up, and you don't let the fact that it's just a small result or temporary in nature, you don't let that talk you out of persisting. Because as you persist, see, these red cards are more positive. We go from mostly black cards to mostly red cards. As you persist in this little by little measured way, and as you ignore these failures of the past and what people say, And this could even mean, like, let's say it's social media. You cut off, Tristicia, you cut off social media. You don't need that kind of feedback while you're trying to work on stuff. I mean, depending on what the thing is. So it really can be the idea that you need to sort of cut off other people's views if they're in any way going to damage your ability to take these actions. Because as you take action with your organizations, associations, humanistic efforts, with ideal efforts, with things that are really pointed towards the future but have a lot to do with very ethical actions. You know, this is Aquarius again, so it's going to be mental, analytical. This can have to do with things like, you know, astrology, but it can also do with science, navigation, guidance. Again, because this would be a sort of guidance thing as you're sort of looking to this warm and loving energy for guidance, instead of looking to the cruelties of your own harsh judgments or other people's. You are sort of looking for this warm-hearted guidance, and you may contact that through spiritual means. You know, getting spiritual guidance, it's going to lead you to these moments of joy. It's going to lead you to these strokes of luck. This is the sun in Leo. This is the sun in Leo in a major way. This is the sun in Leo in a smaller way. So it's almost like as your guts kind of lead you and your feet lead you, your heart's going to start to believe it too. And the fire in your belly is going to kind of come back into your heart. Yeah, that conviction that you have the heart of the lion, it's warming up here, right? Everything is warming up. So I see this as a really great reading. I love the fact that it takes us back to where we started, that golden, wonderful child of promise that we began with being. And we can be again, but you're going to need to look also because this is in the feet. We're going to look in the areas where we have warmth, where we have spiritual support. It could be new organizations or new associations, maybe not the ones from the past, if the ones from the past have become somehow poisoned. Not to be, you know, too harsh about it, but this is a time probably to avoid those kinds of opinions, cultivating them within yourself if they're too harsh, or participating in them with other people if it is not going to nourish you to be able to take small measured actions on your own behalf because someone else says it's not big enough, it doesn't matter enough, you're not going to succeed anyway. And don't be the person telling yourself that either. So this is the Lux Solutions reading. I hope you found it interesting and useful. I did, so I mean, I guess that's something. But until next time, and I will be doing readings for the upcoming full moon, rock on with your bad